Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
And that's breaking news just in from Detroit's west side, where police are investigating a high-speed crash. Off the top tonight at 11, police say 2 women ran from one of the cars involved in that crash, leaving a child in the back seat.
Tim Pamplin is on the scene with a night cam. Tim.
Detroit police attempted to stop the driver of this little red Honda in relation to an armed robbery earlier in the day. She, however, did not want to talk to the police.
They're going southbound on Stahelan, high rate of speed. We are not following.
She came barreling down Stahelan Street. That's when Tony Miller couldn't believe his eyes or ears.
Boom, kaboom, bang, bang. Knocked the whole line over there. I was right there.
The Honda colliding with this white SUV. You see the driver there wandering around. Her young male passenger, he's gone to the hospital.
I seen the car doing 70 miles an hour, 80 miles an hour down the street.
It was a female driver? Yes. A child in the back and a female passenger as well.
After the collision, the 2 ladies in that red car got out and ran, leaving the youngster in the back seat. Detroit K-9 units trying to get a track on those 2. No luck yet. And Detroit police now talking to that teenage young lady who was left behind at the scene. That is a scene, a wild one on the west side with a night cam. Tim Pamplin, Local 4.
Okay, Tim, we are also following breaking news on Detroit's east side, where a man has died after being found shot inside an SUV. It was a 29-year-old man found slumped over the wheel near 7 Mile and Meringue, taken to the hospital, but dead from his injuries there. The investigation goes on at this hour.
Officer Rasheed McLean was killed in the line of duty 12 days ago. The suspect in his death has still not been charged. And now Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy says she will be releasing her charging decision tomorrow morning. Mara McDonald is live at Frank Murphy Hall of Justice tonight. Mara, what's been the holdup?
I think, Kimberly, that we're going to hear more about Worthy's process at the press conference here at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. That said, we know that DPD way earlier sent over a huge packet of information requesting charges, but that was ultimately kicked back to the police department for further investigation. Veteran Detroit police officer Rasheed McLean was shot and killed November 20th after he and his partner responded to a man with a gun inside a home. The suspect, a 28-year-old man who had been paroled after 8 years in prison. Not only is he the suspect in McLean's killing, but another murder, as well as 2 other non-fatal shootings prior to his alleged attack on McLean and his partner Philippe Batum-Bissay.
This is a very complicated case. We're talking about shooting incident that started at the home 2 weeks ago.
It is complicated, which is why when DPD originally sent over their casework to the prosecutor's office, Worthy's office sent it back requesting more information. That's not uncommon. Now it appears they have all they need, and Worthy is set to announce her charging decision in the morning. Officer McLean's funeral is Friday. He's posthumously being promoted to sergeant. Back here live to give you an idea of what the chief is talking about when he talks about how complicated this case has been. What we have learned since Officer McLean was shot and killed is that the suspect in this case wasn't a stranger at that home on Wyoming. He actually, for lack of a better term, stayed there several days out of the week. He was involved with a woman, a 32-year-old woman who lived in that home, while at the same time pursuing a 16-year-old who didn't live at that home. So there are a lot of moving parts here. I think we're going to hear exactly how this came together for the prosecutor's office tomorrow morning. We're live at the Frank Murphy Hall of Justice. I'm Mara McDonald. Back to you.
All right, Mara. President Trump and the First Lady spending the night in London ahead of this week's NATO summit. The leaders of 29 countries will be attending the meetings. Queen Elizabeth will be hosting the leaders at Buckingham Palace with this year's summit celebrating the 70th anniversary of NATO.
A 48-year-old bicyclist is hit while riding his bike in Frayser, and now police are searching for the driver responsible. A doorbell camera caught the accident over the weekend on 14 Mile near Utica Road. The bicyclist veers into traffic, giving the driver little time to react. Police say the driver was not in the wrong until that driver decided to keep going. The bicyclist has a long road to recovery, suffering a broken hip and femur in that accident.
There seems to be a Grinch in South Lyon, Green Oak Township, around that area, trying to squash the holiday spirit. Several homes there have had their Christmas displays vandalized recently. Jason Colthorpe live at one of those houses tonight, where they have clearly recovered it now. Jason.
Boy, they sure have, Devin. I mean, just look around. This is amazing, right? And when you just look at this, you can imagine how many hours it took to set it up and get it on display. And given that, you can understand why this family would be upset, and many others are, to know that someone's coming along and disrupting these displays by cutting the wires.
We've been doing it for about 28 years. It takes several days definitely to do it. Every year we add a little bit. We are definitely known as the Griswold House.
And once Clark Griswold, also known as Mike Chezik, has his family's display up, it is a sight to behold.
I would say this Santa Claus, and then over here the snowman. I think I describe these two pieces to my kids as world class.
You also can't help but feel like a little kid again, seeing the clock counting down to Christmas, or excited to see landing lights for Santa's sleigh.
A FedEx guy dropped off something, goes, I was having a really bad day and I saw your stuff and it made me feel better. And that's why we do it.
So it was quite disheartening when Mike and his wife Kathy investigated some lights that were out.
The synchronized lollipops were all dead, and we walked out and we checked it out, and lo and behold, the wires were cut. They were cleanly cut.
They raced to the Nextdoor app to alert the neighborhood that someone belonged on the naughty list, only to find at least 3 other houses had been vandalized.
I found it very sad that somebody would want to cut wires and be a Grinch for Christmas displays. I felt bad for them.
Yeah, and if police have to get involved, Mike would like to see them end up, doing some community service or something like that. But most of all, he'd like to ask them why. Why are you trying to ruin Christmas in such a dumb way? But just take a look around. They're failing miserably at that right now. In Green Oak Township, Jason Colthorpe, Local 4.
Okay, Jason. A suspected Peeping Tom is arrested after allegedly looking through several windows in Metro Detroit. 54-year-old Kenton Driscoll is accused of peeping through windows in Royal Oak and Birmingham last month. Driscoll is being held on a $100,000 cash bond, charged with peeping and prowling in Birmingham. Royal Oak is also pursuing charges against him.
First day of recreational marijuana sales in Michigan generated more than $200,000. 3 licensed dispensaries in Ann Arbor started selling yesterday. State says the 3 pot shops generated $221,000 in sales that first single day. To buy recreational marijuana, you do have to be 21 years of age or older, and you have to have a valid state ID or driver's license.
Still ahead, the FBI sending out a warning to anyone who recently bought a smart TV.
What the FBI is recommending you do to keep you safe from hackers.
And 10 people shot over the weekend near Bourbon Street. Now new video shows what happened once the shots were fired. Ben.
Kim, sub-freezing start tomorrow morning. Eventually, we may see a few flakes by midday. Coming up, we'll check the rest of your week and our first look at holiday lights this season. All next.
Her life is a story worth telling. And today, it's worth celebrating.
Do you ever look around and go, I can't believe I'm here?
Yes. Sometimes it's so surreal to me that I went through all of that.
From a deadly cancer diagnosis to a unique treatment plan to marriage, new home, and career.
I'm very grateful.
Her story giving us all hope. Next.